Verse 14, we read that every man is tempted. Every man is tempted when he is drawn away. When he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. Then when lust hath conceived, it bringeth forth sin. Temptation is not sin. But the second look is, brother. The second look is, sister. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Exodus 20, verse 14. Thou shalt not commit adultery. But this verse in God's 10 Commandments is strangely linked with verse 17. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. But wait, it doesn't end there. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. Also, David. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. Also, David. This holy book condemns men having eyes full of adultery and that cannot cease from sin. This holy book condemns men having eyes full of adultery. Full of adultery. And that cannot cease from sin. 2 Peter 2 verse 14. But oh, when a Christian continually fails God with his eyes, that is tragic. That is tragic. I made a covenant with mine eyes. I made a covenant with mine eyes. Why then should I think upon a maid? Why then should I look upon a young woman? Job 31 verse 1. I, as a married man, came to a place where I made a covenant with mine eyes, not to look the second look at what I know the devil will continually place before me in this life. Like young Daniel, who purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the king's meat. He came to a calculated moment, a calculated choice, a covenant, that he would not defile himself in God's eyes by going against the known will of God, the commandments of God, and become defiled in the sight of God. He purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself. So I purposed in my heart. I came to a decisive moment, a moment in life where I made a calculated decision. I made a covenant with mine eyes not to become defiled in God's sight by what I allow my eyes to look at. There was a moment, a calculated covenant moment with these eyes. In Romans 6 verse 11, Paul writes to all Christians, likewise, reckon ye also yourselves to be dead indeed unto sin. Reckon ye also yourselves to be dead indeed unto sin, but alive unto God through Jesus Christ our Lord. Let not sin therefore reign in your mortal body, that ye should obey it in the lust thereof. Neither yield ye your members as instruments of unrighteousness unto sin, but yield yourselves unto God as those that are alive from the dead, and your members as instruments of righteousness unto God. Even your eyes, brother. There's a moment you've got to yield these in a covenant, to purpose in your heart to let God deal with this. Even your eyes, sister. Yield. In one sacred moment and desperate moment, but by faith, for God to deal with it. An old, godly woman recently stood with me when her godly husband died that I'd known for many years. And she shared with me how when they were first married, as a young married couple, they were unsaved, unconverted. But she said in that moment, after her marriage, she began to fear. She began to fear because of his eyes. The way his eyes looked with lust, that woman in front of her. You forget the people you love when you're sinning. When you haven't dealt with sin. She said, she felt defiled by his eyes. She felt betrayed by his eyes. His eyes betrayed her. She was fearful because of his eyes that could not cease from sin in front of her. But then, she said, Christ stepped in and saved our souls. And he was gloriously saved as a young man while we were still young in marriage. And from that time, Brother Keith, through the years till he died in his old age, I never saw him betray me with his eyes once again. That's Christ's salvation, Keith. Jesus didn't come to save his people in their sins, but from their sins. If you'll have it, brother, if you'll have it, sister. But oh, Christian, if you continually fail God with your eyes, then I implore you tonight to sow to yourselves in righteousness. Seek God tonight. Reap in mercy. Break up your fallow ground, for it is time to seek the Lord. It is time to seek the Lord till he come and rain righteousness upon you. Till he come. Not just some short prayer at the end of the sermon, but till he come. I will not let thee go, except thou bless me, except you have your way and your will with my life that destroys everything, though I'm saved. I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. Have thy way. No matter what it costs, God. Oh, ye shall seek me, ye shall find me, when ye shall search for me with all your heart, God says. That costs you everything. But unless you're willing for that price, it will cost you far more than everything. It will cost you everything, you. That's dear. Oh, it's time to seek the Lord till he come and rain righteousness upon you. When a Christian continually fails God, firstly with his eyes, but secondly, when a Christian continually fails God with his thoughts, with his thoughts,